Good morning, guys. Welcome back. It is 7 a.m., and that means here in Chattanooga, it is still pitch dark out. Chattanooga is on the far end of the Eastern Standard Time, right on the border of Central Standard Time. So technically, it should feel like 6 a.m. It's really not the best for the morning, but in the summer evenings, it's perfect because we get light until about 10 p.m. or so. So today has the potential to be a massively exciting day. And depending on the thumbnail you guys saw, that will dictate whether or not it was a successful, exciting day. So as of right now, I'm not sure yet. But what I am sure of is we're going to be driving through the Smoky Mountains of northern Georgia while the sun rises. So that is going to be success number one. All right, well, we are in a familiar place with our favorite white coffee. And we are just about to our destination. I'll fill you guys in really exactly what I'm doing today. All right, guys, you probably could have guessed. We're back at Elliott's at the 944 barn. So anyone who's been on the channel for a while knows that Kayla bought her first year 944 from Elliott not too long ago, back last year. Obviously, I am a Porsche nerd as well. I've never owned a Porsche, and Elliott and I have been talking about one specifically, and we're here to look at and possibly bring one home. Now, we're gonna see it here in a little bit. It's a car that he had about a year ago, year or two ago, that he did a bunch of maintenance to. It's special. It's within the vein that you can assume that I would own. If I were to own a Porsche, the stuff that I'm into, it's right in lane with the type of stuff that I like, just with a Porsche badge on it. So it's obvious Elliott is a 944 expert, as you could say. Specializes in 944 platform cars, parts. Even came home with a couple last night. So he parts these things out. So anyone who's looking for parts for 944s, 968s, all of those cars. He's in the middle of kind of restoring one right now that he'll have for sale soon. I've put his Instagram in the description below, also here on the screen. 944 barn. If you've got a 944 or you're looking for one, hit him up. He's in North Georgia. All right, guys, well, this is it. It's a 1987 924S. A couple of things that make this car super special, because as I mentioned earlier, that the Porsche I was going to be picking up was basically in my lane of oddity cars that I like. This 924S, first of all, is a slick top, no sunroof, and I know that kind of means more here in America than it does in Europe. But it's a slick top 924S. And the other thing that makes this car super special is they only made them for 2 years, 87 and 88. And my favorite part of the 924S is that they're basically a slab side 944, a narrow body 944. So the early 924s basically had a Volkswagen Audi engine in them, and they were underpowered. They were a 2-liter. And what makes this so special is it's basically a narrow body 924 put down over a 944. So this has the 2.5 944 engine in it. It's got AC. It's got the early 944 interior, which is awesome, being an 87. So this basically shares the same interior as the early 944s. It's a Southern car. It's been down south its entire life. It doesn't have a rust blister anywhere on it. It is a clean example of, I mean, maybe not a rare, but a super cool 924S. Another reason why I decided on this car, kind of hastily, it was kind of a last second decision to pull the trigger on this car, was Elliot had owned this car about a year and a half ago and did a bunch of maintenance to it. He did the timing belt, water pump, fuel service. He's got a whole spreadsheet on a bunch of mechanicals that he did on this car, and he sold it to a neighbor of his. So the car didn't go far, and that guy basically daily drove it here and there. I mean, it wasn't his full-time daily, but he drove it all the time, and he's moving, and it was time for him to move it on. So I saw him list it, and we came out here now 2 days later after he posted it on Instagram. No, it's not a 968. It's not a 944 turbo. It's not an S2 or some crazy Euro market S2. There's a lot of cars here that I would really love to own. But you guys know I'm deep in the auto union. I'm really trying to not bite off more than I can chew. But this thing is a perfect canvas for some simple modifications to make this thing look really cool. And since Kayla has a first year 944 that we're basically trying to get ready for Helen, Georgia for Alpine Volks Fair this upcoming May. I mean, how cool is this? If we can get 2 of these cars done and we both roll into Helen together, she's in her first year 944 and I'm in the 924S. So coming out here, I was pretty optimistic we'd be going home with it, and we came to a deal. And I have the keys and the title, and we will be driving this thing 2.5 hours home through the Smoky Mountains along the Ocoee River. So that is also something I'm looking forward to. So we're over here with Elliot. I haven't filmed. We've already gone out to lunch and we've been hanging out. And I'm terrible at this whole YouTube thing. You guys gotta see some of the stuff that Elliot has here. He's tucked back here.
Yeah, I'm buried in my wheel stack.
So we're trying to figure out. First of all, Kayla needs some RS parts. She just got her RS centers back from Powder Coat. They look amazing. We've tested them on the car. Huge thanks to Brock, a buddy of mine, who sent her some lips. I think they're 3s and 2.5-inch lips, and they fit perfectly on the 944. So we're getting that ready. I think we're waiting on 1 barrel, which we're picking up from Elliot, and tires. And then that thing should be starting to get dialed in. I'm going to be posting a lot of content from that car on the channel as well. But since we're here, and he has plenty of 5x130 Porsche stuff for wheels, he's got a set of RSs here, and I don't know if I'm going home with them or not. I have spent some money today, and I'm not sure what we're doing, but he's got some really cool wheel options here for narrow body cars and 5x130, including a set of RSs that I would love to go home with. So I don't know what we're doing, but there's some cool stuff in here. So those the Epsilons?
Yeah.
Those look like Epsilon bolts.
Yep.
I haven't seen the face mount.
Yeah.
I haven't seen like Porsche face mount Epsilons like that before.
It's a big face Southern waves.
Yep. Wow. All right, so Elliot's got some parts, and he's got some RSs here, and they're 16s. They're 50130. And Kayla bought her RSs from him as well. But he's also got this kind of unknown name, but 924 specific rear valence, and they're super rare, right?
Yeah.
You haven't hardly seen any of these.
Yeah, I've had several 944 versions, but this is the only 924 version I think I've had.
Yeah, and
I never see them.
And it's broke, which is unfortunate, but I mean it's here. I'm gonna tuck the American bumpers. What I didn't post yesterday, it was gonna be a different episode, but I hauled out 15 minutes from my house with my trailer to look at a Euro 924 that was basically barely a parts car, but it had Euro bumpers. It was a gray market car, in hopes that I was going to purchase this car today, but they basically want to sell the whole car for more than I want to pay for it for just the bumpers. So since we're here, I'll show you guys before we leave, but Elliot has a 924 turbo car with tucked American bumpers, much like you would do on like an 80s BMW, tucking the American bumpers instead of going Euro. So we're not sure if this will work on the US market bumpers. Well, it won't, because the bumper is going to be tucked in, and I'm going to have to basically trim and finesse it a little bit. But I've already got to do some glass work to get it back to one piece anyway. So I guess what I'm in the middle of doing is contemplating if that'll work. The RSs will work with some lips in the rear, I believe. Yeah, we're just trying to kind of figure out what I'm going home with in the back of that 924. All right, there's more. There's more. Like I'm here. He's only a couple hours away from Chattanooga, but he just hauled these two 944s home from Florida last night. Just got in last night, and this one has a heck blend. And I'll show you guys over on the 924 that I just bought why I'm really considering the heck blend, aside from the fact that I love heck blends. I love how 80s and OEM plus they are. Well, actually, I can show you right here. So the 924 has plate holes drilled in the plate tub, but it also has plate holes drilled in the bumper. So the way I see it is if I put a heck blend on the plate tub, I can put my plate here and now all the holes are covered up. So that's like part two of why I want the heck blend. Part one's because I just think they're rad. So the question is, he said he's never even been into this hatch. So that doesn't look like it wants to open.
No, I think I need to jump the battery. I think I get it electronically open.
Oh, okay.
It's a 90 model, and they got rid of the mechanical latch.
Yep.
So it's electronic only, I think. Like
Wow.
89 and up.
Huh. That's convenient when you have a dead battery.
Yeah.
I might as well do
I'm a sucker for
with the key in it too.
Yeah.
All right, so you can see here on his 924 Turbo, it's got tucked American bumpers, which I love the look of because that simulates like the European bumper look where it's hugged into the car much further. So that's going to be something I'm going to do on the 924. But also it's got a heck blend. So it kind of gives you an idea of what the back of my car will ultimately look like. So he's also got this 924 front valance with a lip. That was kind of like a custom made thing. Like a guy on like a 924 forum was going to make this for like a batch basically. So X amount of people ordered them and he made them, and Elliot has acquired one of them. And it's incredibly the same red as the 924. So it almost seemed too good to be true because it would look really good on that car. But if I'm going to tuck the bumper like this 924, it's not going to fit because of the distance from basically the back of the fender, front of the wheel arch, to where it mounts to the bumper. It's going to be too long, and I don't really want to cut it up. You can see how far in this thing's tucked. And I'd much rather get the tucked look than the poke look of the bumper with this valance. When I do coilovers in that, which I'm ultimately and obviously going to do, it'll be as low as this 924. It'll basically look this low and won't really need something this far down because even the stock valance sits pretty low on this turbo car. And these turbo hoods look really cool too with the vent on the passenger side. But this turbo car, he hasn't driven in quite a while, but this turbo car is kind of like the inspiration for the S that I just bought. 16s, low to the ground, tucked bumpers, and now a heck blend, and more notably on RSs. And I think it's really cool. I've been hesitant to buy this stuff because I just bought the car like literally today. So here I am like trying to spend more money on some stuff from Elliot, but we're here. It's stuff that he's going to sell anyway. And while I'm here, I'm going to be happy that I bought it, that I'm going to have this stuff for the car, because when I dive into that car and do suspension, I'm going to be wishing I already had wheels and a few other bits to add to the car, to kind of add to some of the content of the car too, to show you guys like the step-by-step process of how this car is going to come together, which Elliot's stoked on. I mean, obviously you guys have seen some of the stuff he's got here. He's got all sorts of modified stuff. He's not a purist in any way, in the sense of the word that we know it. So he's in the track cars. He's got some stancy cars. It's basically like any 944 you could think of. He's got like that style done here.
Yeah, I got the Safari car down there.
Yeah, we showed a clip of the Safari. Yeah, that's a 924 too, right?
Or 944.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I don't know. Do we even talk about what just happened? Well, so this one's a nicer one. I mean, this is what people want to watch on YouTube, though. You know, they want to watch like the real life.
I know.
So, the heck blend on the S2 was in good nick, as you'd say in England. It was like real nice. And Ellie and I are just chatting away as he's taking it off the car. And in slow motion, he gets the last screw out and it comes tumbling down and lands on the trailer and the corner brakes. And we both feel equally as bad.
That was my fault entirely.
It happens though. I mean, honestly, he was taking out the last screw and we were chit-chatting and I saw it fall. I just turned the camera off and it like, as it landed, I thought it just hit the grass. I'm like, oh, it's fine. Then I saw the corner missing, and I'm like,
Same.
oh. So he had another one, and honestly, if you guys have seen these before, you know they're quite nice. But this one here is lit from the back, so you can wire them in with your parking lights. And it obviously needs to be, somebody painted it for some reason, but it should look like that underneath. And the grid pattern kind of lines up with the spacing on the taillights, so it's kind of like the better heck one. So I appreciate it, man. I wouldn't expect you to give me another one, but I'll see what I can do to maybe acrylic weld this one. But this one would be a cool one to clean up and get on that car. I wasn't planning on filming any of it, but that's what happens. I mean, it's just sometimes you slip up for 1 second, I think falls and breaks.
With this one here, I think that if you can really get rid of all this stuff and bring the red back into it, you know, this is supposed to be black, of course.
Yep.
I think it would look pretty good. It's just that I don't know how you're gonna fix that, you know.
Yep.
And the lights, I think, are really cool too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, at night when it's lit up, it's actually pretty neat looking.
Yep. Yeah, it gives it like a Knight Rider look.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Well, I think I'm pulling the trigger on the RSs. These are in great condition for the most part. I mean, some of the lips have some rash, but I think 2 of the lips will get swapped out for some wider lips for the rear. So the faces are in good shape, and you know, honestly, I think I'll run the black. I think it'll look good on the red. The car itself has black trim. It's got the black valance, or the black wing rather. I don't normally like black wheels, but I think with just the black centers and then polishing up the lips, I think it'll look great. So that's my thought process there. This is kind of like a twofer episode where I'm picking up a car and vintage motorsport wheels for that car. Hey, you want to know something really, really cool about these BBS RSs that we just noticed? The date of manufacturer on these wheels. So BBS does the number week of the year. That's what the 4-digit number is. And these wheels, 10 of 85. I was born in March 8th, 1985. And the 10th week of the year would have roughly been the second week of March. March 8th is the beginning of the second week of March, which would be the 10th week of 1985. So these BBS RSs were literally made the week I was born of the same year. So quite possibly even the day I was born, these wheels were made. That's actually pretty cool. I don't look at that as a sign or anything, but all 4 are 10th week of 1985.
I have a few interior pictures. I'll send to you.
Well, who would have thought I'd be going home with a Porsche, but going home with a Porsche with BBS RSs in the trunk. So we're going home with wheels, boys. So we got about a 2.5 hour drive. Sun is about to set, so first half of the drive we should have some sun, which would be nice. Try to get some shots of the beautiful drive back. All right, so from what you've told me, if I remember this correctly, this car started life exactly like that car. It was a red 924S.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now green, obviously, but Euro bumpers. It's lowered. It's on OZ splits. And Recaro interior steering wheel. It's got the 1991, right? It's 91?
Yeah, 91 S2 rear spoiler.
Yep. And then the clear taillights. I love the way this car came together. This thing looks awesome.
Thank you.
This is giving you guys like a good idea, like a visual representative of like what I want to do with this car. Period correct, German parts, cleaned up. I think it'll look real good. Hugged down on the ground on split wheels on those RSs.
You're definitely moving in the right direction with it right off the bat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, dude, so excited about this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for all the help.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of one of your cars to begin with. Well, we'll have to get you on the podcast one of these days. We'll talk about some of these crazy cars you've put together and the whole overall business in general. But
Yep. Sounds like fun to me.
well, dude, thank you so much for everything, man. I'm super excited. All right, guys, we made it home last night. I really wish I'd filmed a little bit more on the drive because that Smoky Mountain drive out to Elliott's from here is just incredible. I mean, tail of the dragon type driving. But by the time we left Elliott's, we got food in Blairsville before we left, and it was dark when we hit the road. Just kind of enjoyed the drive, kept an eye on everything, made sure the car drove well, because we'd really only just test drove it around Elliott's place, but put it through its paces, drove it pretty spiritedly, hammered on it pretty hard, and then there's probably a good 20 to 30 minute stretch of straight freeway driving before you get here to Chattanooga, and really hammered on it on the highway, 90, 95 miles an hour, just to kind of feel how it felt. And this thing is smooth as glass. It really feels amazing. But the car made it back, no problem. Thank you guys so much for watching and for all of the support. I know we got a lot to do. I know the auto union's still half done, not even half done. I'm neck deep in that, but I had to jump on this. Sometimes you just gotta jump on stuff. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next episode.